had interest in cryptozoology for many years now. From Bigfoot to the Loch Ness Monster, the subject of cryptids captured my imagination, and I subsequently dedicated my life to proving their existence. Recently, I went on a trip to Wales in the UK in search of what was known as the Advac, a lake monster in Welsh mythology reported to be some kind of crocodile-beaver hybrid. It's said to prey upon anyone foolish enough to fall into or swim in its waters. Bemused but friendly locals directed me to Flinir Advac, a lake near the village of Bedasincoid that was named after the creature. There I stood for over an hour in miserable, damp conditions, but I saw nothing. Not a single ripple or bubble on the lake's surface to indicate anything larger than a trout calling it home. As a memento, I decided to take a photograph of the lake. Even if it came away empty-handed, the approaching autumn gave the scene a distinctly eerie appearance. Skeletal tree limbs and a pervading scene of rot would certainly make an excellent visual for a blog update. But upon studying the picture a little more intently, I saw a black shape on the distant lake's edge. It was thin and tall, the figure of a man. When I looked up, the man was still there, standing statue still on the other side of the water. I raised a hand to wave to him, but he didn't move. He seemed to be wearing thick black clothing, his face obscured by a black woolen scarf. He didn't make a sound. When I turned to leave, figuring I'd intruded on his favorite fishing spot, he began to crouch. At first, it looked like he was slowly kneeling down to pick something up, a fishing rod perhaps, or God forbid, a weapon. Instead, I watched in utter confusion as the man seemed to arch his back before using all four limbs to race through the trees behind him. I was awestruck, struggling to comprehend what I'd just seen. I immediately took the picture into the nearby village to ask the residents if they had any ideas. The patrons of the local pub laughed when I told them what I had seen, but they didn't laugh when I showed them the photographs. They grew quiet before telling me I needed to leave. The entire train ride back to my home city, I couldn't take my mind off what I witnessed. Using the train's Wi-Fi, I posted the pictures on numerous cryptozoology websites and forums. I was unable to contain my excitement when several users confirmed they had never seen or heard of anything like it. Another user posted something morbidly fascinating concerning 3 missing children that had disappeared while playing near the lake, stating that it was possible this newly discovered creature could be responsible. The same user joked that he hoped the thing didn't see me photographing it, but I didn't find the comment particularly amusing. I spent the remainder of the day researching what I had seen, but I could find nothing. Nowhere was there any mention of a black shape that ran on all fours. I stayed at my computer late into the evening. Long after sunset, my dog began to bark. I could hear her scratching at the front door with her paws, yelping wildly. When I went downstairs, I found she urinated on the carpet, something entirely out of character for her. Once I cleaned up after her, she refused to sleep in her doggy bed downstairs, insisting on sleeping at the foot of my bed. Call it a hunch, but I called in an anonymous tip to North Wales Police, telling them to search near Flinir Advac for the missing children. If nothing came of it, then fine, but something did come of it. The next morning, I woke up to the news that an anonymous tip, my anonymous tip, had led police to make a discovery of human remains in the woods near the lake. Police later held a press conference in which the bones were confirmed to be those of a child. That night, my dog began to make those same terrified yelping noises. Again, she peed on the rug, something I thought I trained out of her years ago. However, it's not unusual for a dog to urinate uncontrollably when it detects a larger predator in the area, which would explain what I saw when I opened the door and peered outside into the rainy, dark night. On the doorstep beneath me was a single tuft of thick, spidery black hair. I think I found a new kind of cryptid, only I think it's gone and found me too.